Dad, I wish you were there to see my beautiful wife. Dad, I wish you could see how hard I work to raise my kids. Dad, I wish you could see the beautiful home I have. Dad, I wish you could see the character I have. I wish you could see the faithful man I am. What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to Roller Clip TV podcast. Thank y'all for checking another episode out. Today, my brothers and sisters, I will not be rolling a clip. It's Father's Day. So I wanted to jump on here and say happy Father's Day to all the kings in the world, to all the men, black, white, and other that are putting the work in, raising their kids, putting in every energy and effort into doing your best. This episode is all about doing your best. I'm not trying to trash nobody. I'm not trying to come down on nobody. I'm going to share my story, as always, from my perspective. Father's Day is always a yin and yang for me. Always. Always a yin and yang for me. I'm going to start this episode by saying about this. I want to talk about the demonized dad. I did a episode with Gary Owens talking about when he was on Club Shay Shay talking about his kids.
Kids right now.
I don't have one. It's been three and a half years. When kids are little, they idolize their dad. Mm-hmm. And then when divorce happens, they demonize them. And then as time goes by, they humanize them. Mm-hmm. Clearly, I'm in the demon stage right now. But it's just been so long.
And how he's a piece of shit in his kids' eyes because the marriage didn't work out, because he was unfaithful in the marriage, and whatever emotional baggage that is going on between him and his ex, the kids have now carried that on. And so when we start talking about Father's Day, I cannot escape that issue. I can't escape that the kids, and this happens to mothers also. I'm not excluding moms from this. It's Father's Day, so I'm talking to my brothers. Brothers, we just gonna have a conversation if you don't mind. Do me a favor, y'all. Go get your drink. Sit back. I'm gonna try to calm down. And let's just have a conversation. I'm actually taping this on Saturday. My wife and my son, they're actually out now doing some Father's Day shopping. So I am blessed. I am not talking about my current my current situation in life. I'm just talking about my perspective throughout my lifetime in my almost 53 years of freaking living. When your kids demonize you as your father, I said this before, it's not a damn thing you can do about it. It's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. All you can do is ride it out. Let me just put this bug in your ear real quick. When we talk about fatherhood, we're talking about value. The only way a child learns value is from their parents. Unfortunately, in my situation, I left my kids' life maybe in the teenage stage, but they still had, especially my daughters, they had enough time around subject X to demonize me as a dad. Let me say it like that. And it's on different levels. Demonization happens on different levels. Some in some of my brother's cases, the kids don't talk to them at all. And some kids, they get a text message. And some kids, they have a little conversation, but dad is still this interterrestrial being that always is about 20 yards away. We got to keep him away because if dad comes too close, he might hurt us. I'm just saying. When we start talking about, so in this particular Father's Day, and I say I salute you, I had to relearn value. My wife has actually, over the past 10 years, helped me to value myself, not so much as a man, but she has valued me as a provider. Let me say it like that, as a husband. And in that, I have learned to adopt value for myself. I don't know if y'all can see this, but wait, I got some Batman dolls right here. When I was a teenager, I worked at McDonald's, and so I bought them. I had to be 13, I'm not 13, 14, maybe 15 years old. I bought them in Elizabeth at this little toy store. They were at the time, they were only about maybe $3 or $4. And then my G.I. Joe's back here. And so I kept them all in the original containers. I have them in my shed. This is the first time in my life that I've been able to unpack them. My wife bought me my wife bought all this entire setup for me to set them up. I'm 53 years old. And so it's the first time in my life that I've had a permanent home. My wife we have a permanent, it's our first home. But I've had these action figures since I was a kid, almost 37 years. Let me take you through real quick, let me take you through some 37 years. I'm still talking about Father's Day, so y'all rock with me for a minute. In 37 years, I've been evicted, I've been divorced, I moved countless times, at least more than I want to count. Probably more than 10, 12 maybe, throughout these 37 years. Not so much in the last 10 years, but in my younger years. And every step of the way. At one point, I even moved overseas, and they were all packed up, and they moved overseas with me, and I brought them back. I remember when I first met my wife, I had them in a closet in a box. And then we moved in together, and I still kept them in the closet in a box. And she's like, "Why you don't never take them out?" Because they had value to me. And so I was waiting. I was waiting to set them up in my head. They always had a place like this. I can honestly say, my wife, she understood. Never questioned me on it. Never called it stupid. Never, because I have had that throughout my lifetime. Well, why are you doing that? They toys. They weren't toys to me. They were valuable to me. So after all this time, my wife and I purchased a house out here in Georgia, and she bought my whole setup, and I put them up. I said all that to say this. There was a level of value. Anytime you value something, you protect it. And as a father, many times we're not valued. The relationship that our kids have is not valued. It's disposable. The relationship between a mother a lot of times is so sacred, but because we are men, because a lot of us don't communicate at all or properly, or you got the other side, you got some brothers who communicate way too much, and the kids just jump on this bandwagon of oh, dad is always whining. It's always this yin and yang. But I value them, and anytime you value yourself, you cause people to elevate their game. And so in many cases, when it comes to being a dad, because the child does not value the relationship with you, it is a disposable relationship. And there's nothing that you can do about it except pray. And so the reason why I'm having this conversation is because I value you, King. I value your honest, your energy, your efforts. I know financially you may not be where you want to be to take care of the things that you want to do, but I didn't have it back then. These things rock with me for 37 years. If you don't, what's the scripture? You will reap if you faint not. You will reap if you faint not. You can still continue to be yourself, to try to bridge the gap between you and your kids. My wife put up a post the other day, I believe on Facebook, and she said, never stop praying for your adult kids, no matter what the relationship is like. Never stop praying for your adult kids. And it's something I have to there's something I have to be mindful of, because sometimes as a dad, I get very defensive. Like, I put my work in. I put my energy in. My kids were little. I was out working all day, every day, overtime, 60, 70 hours a week, still getting evicted because of Subject X and that toxic BS. I ain't gonna go into that. But as a dad, I was doing my best. I've shared this before on the podcast before, and I'll share it again. I'm sorry, I get a little passionate when I start talking. So if you don't like me being passionate, turn the volume down or go to a different channel. But I didn't grow up with a father or in my life to say, "Hey, son, I'm proud of you." Let me pause because I'm getting ahead of myself. So I didn't have that. My biological father dumped me. My stepfather dumped me, and I had a value. My value system was off because every single freaking man in my life that was supposed to give me this information, this knowledge, and this wisdom treated me like I wasn't shit. And so my value system was off. And if I don't value myself, how the hell would anybody else value you? You can't make people value you. All you can do is set standards and boundaries, and you live up to them. Listen, in some cases, it may take 10 years, 5 years, 20 years. Who knows? To be perfectly honest with you guys, I don't know if some of my kids will ever come around. But I value myself. I value my household. I value the decisions I make. Why? Because it has made me the man I am today. I've put my time, energy, and hard work in. I am proud of myself. And so, King, I wanted to say to you, sometimes you just got to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the effort that you did, Robert. I wrote this post on Facebook several years ago. I said to him, it was a post, it was a letter to my father, quote unquote, not literally. It was a post. And the post went something like this. It was like, like telling him, hey, Dad, I wish you were there to pick me up from school. Dad, I wish you were there to see the man I become. Dad, I wish you were there to see my beautiful wife. Dad, I wish you could see how hard I work to raise my kids. Dad, I wish you could see the beautiful home I have. Dad, I wish you could see the character I have. I wish you could see the faithful man I am. Dad, I wish you could see the value in me. I wish you were there on my wedding day as I walked down the aisle. Dad, I wish you could see the car I purchased. Dad, I wish you could see that your son grew up to have good credit. Dad, I wish you could see that I grew up to be morally sound. Dad, I wish you could see my spiritual maturity. Dad, I wish you could see how much I love God. Dad, I wish you could see the man that God has created me to be. I wish you could see how I honor my beautiful wife, how I take care of my beautiful wife. Dad, I wish you were there to go fishing with me. Dad, I wish you were there to take rides with me. Dad, I just wish you were there. Dad, I wish you were there just to say Happy Father's Day. I wish you were there just to say Happy Father's Day to me. Dad, I wish you were there to come to my house and sit down and have dinner with my wife and I and our family. I want to just, give me a minute, y'all. I met a man, my wife's dad. Unfortunately, we had a very, very short relationship. In my encounter with Dad, I call him Dad. I met him at the end of his life, really quick. And I feel like I carry him with me a lot. We have his picture up on our mantle in our living room. We met very briefly. And when I met him, I had one of my big face watches on, and he said he liked my watch. And I said, "Thank you, sir." And he asked me a question about some gentleman who made watches. And I said to him, "I don't know." He asked me if I ever heard the guy. And I said, "I don't know." And he said to me, "I'm glad to see you're not a bullshitter." Can I tell y'all something? Dads, can I tell y'all something? Those couple of minutes with him and those exchange of words bless me more than my stepfather and my biological father did in almost 20-something years. Dad saying to me, I'm glad to see you're not a bullshitter. gave me freaking value. It spoke to me from, as a man, y'all know, especially when you have kids, especially if you have daughters, you can see a bullshitter a mile away. Most of the times, especially when my kids were younger, even now with our adult daughters, I see them dating people, and I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something. But I'm honored that dad was able to look at me and know I was going to take care of his daughter. Value. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care who's not valuing you as a dad today. I get it, brothers. In some cases, our dads did not value us. And we've had to fight to get to this point in life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But now that we're here, we're going to pray. We're going to continue to be consistent. We're going to be who we are. And life may not have worked out between you and subject X's in the past. But be who you are today and be consistent, have value in the man that you are today. I don't know who needed to hear this. Happy Father's Day, Kings. If you're having Father's Day alone, make yourself a steak dinner. Make yourself a tuna fish sandwich. Maybe your money's tight, what I'm saying is do your best. Have a minute and thank God for restoration. Thank God for who he created you to be. Thank God for what he's allowed you to do. If you're spending a day with your kids, be grateful of that. Honor them. Hold your value. Make sure they hold your value. Enjoy it. Celebrate it. Embrace it. I'm grateful at this point in my life. I'm blessed at this point in my life. I couldn't always say that, but I can get on the podcast. I can begin to share these things. I can begin to talk about these things now. Not because I'm not crying because these things. I'm crying because I'm blessed that I'm no longer stuck in being mad and being angry. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I value me. Listen, if anybody who chooses to come close to me they will be blessed. I have no other. I want nothing else for anybody. Other than I want us all to mother freaking win. I want us to freaking win. I don't want fathers struggling to eat. Anyway. I don't want nobody struggling to eat, y'all. But there are men who I know today who have this issue. But who don't have a voice. Thank you for checking out RotoClip TV, y'all. I may be all over the place. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video. Happy Father's Day. Happy freaking Father's Day. Happy freaking Father's Day. I salute you, King. I'm out. Peace.
Bye. Something to say. Hey. You got something to say.